One Piece, chapter 944. A lot happened in this one. One of the best chapters of this arc, in my opinion. And I'm going to be talking about it with my boys, Grim Reaper, Sundown Rider, I was going to say Kishin Prime, and Look It's Mad. All of their links to their channels will be in the description if you want to check them out. So first I want to talk about the interaction between Zoro and Orochi. What does this mean? So when he shoots it at Orochi gets like legitimately shook and worried about this. Does this possibly mean that Orochi isn't as strong as we thought he was?
I kind of got that same perception too. A lot of times in One Piece, Oda will give us a skewed viewpoint of somebody's power, or they'll show out later on. But oftentimes as well, he does give us the initial display of their power, whether it's an accolade in terms of feats, whether it's their actual rank, whether it's their position within the crew. We know if they're strong or not pretty easily a lot of the times. So I'm interested because, as what Sundown mentioned earlier, that there's one or two guys in Wano that may be holding out or putting a veil over their actual strength, but I don't think Orochi is one of them. The zone is by default going to grant him some like elevated skill, and if it's like a mythical, like we already know, it may even be formidable. It's just fighting prowess and strong powers aren't the same thing. So I'm expecting, some tough guy to be destructive, but he should be taken out pretty easily.
I don't want this to be another Phoenix Man situation, but I'ma say it. I think Orochi is straight trash. The reason why I say this is because I feel like the story that's being told about Orochi from the beginning has been, and we saw it right at the beginning of Wano, where you see his men, or it was Kyoshiro, and people are speaking about the Shogun and how he's weak, how he's afraid, how he has this tendency towards cowardice. So I think it's been kind of displayed all the way throughout that he has the title of Shogun, and people fear that because the Shogun is the military leader and therefore the leader of Wano, i.e. Japan. It's his position and his station which they're afraid of, and what he can do to people, and not so much him that they're afraid of. So I think he's going to be pretty weak, and judging by the fact that he couldn't take out Zoro's kind of casual swing, and he was genuinely afraid for his life, I think he probably would have died.
So what happens after that? Kyoshiro jumps in, deflects it, seems to have no trouble doing this at all. But we have to remember, of course, that this is Zoro's two-sword style. This isn't like Zoro going all out, just a little taste. But Kyoshiro's eating it up, no problem.
I mean, it's a good way to hype up the future, really, because as we know, Zoro hasn't had an opponent really worth it since the New World, really. And to see the fact that Kyoshiro's always kind of kept his eyes shut for a lot of the time, so the fact he opened that panel where he opens his eyes and looks at Zoro, it's a good way to hype up these two as well, because obviously he's not struggling up against Zoro at any point when they're fighting. But it does also kind of come into question of, like, once again, what's Kyoshiro's motives? Because, before he took down
Komurasaki?
That's it, yeah. But obviously she turned out to be alive yet at the same time, because Komurasaki was shocked about Kyoshiro, but at the same time, like, and obviously we've got more feats for Zoro, obviously, after we learn about who against Kamazo is, but like you said earlier, Zoni, it's all about, like, Wano, these powerhouses, so it's good to see finally a powerhouse in Wano, who Zoro's not just kind of one shine, really.
Okay, so Kyoshiro, like, it was awesome seeing him. The main kind of point I want to address is the fact that Kyoshiro specifically says here that he's fighting Zoro and he's standing in his way because he's the lapdog of the Shogun. And I just feel like, once again, it's the tale he's trying to tell, face that he's showing to society, is that he's the Shogun's lapdog and stuff like that, and he's loyal to the Shogun. But the fact that he didn't kill Komurasaki, and the fact that he's here once again stating to people his position and what he's willing to do for the Shogun, I think is kind of his way of portraying that he isn't quite as loyal as he's trying to say. And I think he might be someone who either defects or is already planning to defect.
Yeah, I think that's where it's headed. There's only, to my knowledge, one of the 9 red scabbards that hasn't been revealed yet, or, revealed that who they are exactly. And it's that guy Denjiro. We still don't have an identity on him yet. I'm thinking it's possible that Kyoshiro is Denjiro. He is one of the 9 red scabbards from 20 years ago. Now, of course, his age is ambiguous. It's difficult to say if he is of the proper age of one of the 9 red scabbards, but it just seems likely because, like, why else is he saving Komurasaki? You know, especially considering like the attitude that he established before that. It seemed like he was just like a scumbag, like Orochi, but now it's not. So it's possible that he is Denjiro, took up the identity of Kyoshiro in order to just preserve things, be like an inside man, and just waiting until the time was right to take over. Because as of right now, Kyoshiro is kind of just like the Yakuza and the as he says, guard dog of Orochi. But other than that, we don't know much about this character.
I think I'm gonna follow along that same line of thinking, because I did have that same feeling whenever the character was introduced, and along with all the different hints and little quotes that you guys have pointed out that he's mentioned throughout the chapters. But also, he's confronting Zoro. And one of the things that I've been looking out for, as you know, like a meathead manga reader or whatever, I love fights, is to see that Zoro fight, who's going to be his next big opponent, because we haven't seen one in quite a while. So initially, this seemed like a great person to, put him up against. And to have these little undertones of possibly him not being a true villain, or him having his own personal intentions aligned with somebody else, or maybe even Odin himself, it's making me reconsider that entire option. Now, as we already pointed out previously, there's plenty of people for Zoro to fight that are on his level, that are stronger than him, so that doesn't really matter that much. But I think you're maybe 100% right about Kyoshiro. He may be that third guy.
I mean, it seems that way. It would be pretty cool that they had like a sleeper. So we go back to the prison. We see that, they're watching it, and Luffy and the other dude, they're watching it, and they're seeing what's going on, and they're cheering everyone on. But then after that, we get Kamuzo. He's back. He's alive. Wasn't really sure if he was alive or dead, but I guess Zoro didn't kill him. And he's back with Kid. Kid, who was able to escape a couple chapters back. He's right back where he was, and I think it's revealed in this, or at least it's implied in my opinion, that Kid only went out to go get Kamuzu. Yeah, Kamuzu is Killer in a big twist. Not the character arc that I thought was going to happen with Killer, but I did think that Killer was going to fight Zoro. Back when the supernovas were first revealed and we saw that the only group amongst the supernovas was Kid and Killer and Luffy and Zoro. So I was like, oh, well, I guess that means Luffy's going to fight Kid and Zoro's going to fight Killer. But it did happen, but just not the way that I expected it to.
I was completely shocked. I had no hints for that. I heard people telling me that Killer was a witching hour boy. I heard people telling me that Killer was associated with somebody else. This was a complete surprise. I got to give props to Oda for dropping in like that. He's done that a few times this arc, so I'm very excited to see what else comes next with it. But in terms of the emotional aspect, I'm kind of torn. This is literally the equivalent. Besides all the character building, characterization that Zoro's had, this is literally like Zoro eating a smile for Luffy. To see this development for Kid, to see his reaction to that, and to see the anger rile up in him just from not understanding what has happened to his friend. It looks like even more than his friend, like his best bud almost. It's gonna be exciting to see what we learn from Kid. We don't know a lot about this character. He seems to be the primary of Luffy's I guess mainstay rivals. If we were to consider Kid and Law to be that, he seems to be the primary one, the one that he's gonna go up against or rival up against for quite a while, aside from Law, who may be more of his companion right now. So I'm excited to see so much more about Kid. The info we got about how he lost his arm, what he was doing over the time skip, that was so exciting. His powers are cool back when we saw him back in Sabaody. So to finally get the arc of Kid to a small extent associated with Killer is gonna be great.
No, I agree with everything you guys have said about this, but what I thought was good is because obviously the chapter's called Partners as well, and because there was such a big focus on Zoro, who's Luffy's partner, really, it really shows the value of him. So earlier on, where when they're fighting all the guards and Kyoshiro, Zoro's kind of leading the Straw Hats in that sense, because he gives Sanji Otoko, and then she gives Frankie to, then he gets Frankie to cover for him. It shows the value of a good partner, really. And obviously, Zoro's and that Zoro Luffy bond, we all like it. So when that hit, it really hit for me, because one of my favorite things is obviously it's just the relationship between Zoro and Luffy. And so when we see something similar like this and how it can go downhill, it hits all the more. Yeah,
it makes it feel grounded. It gives me the impression that Kid would actually go out of his way to help Killer. I was kind of ambivalent towards Kid before this. I was kind of like, yeah, he's cool, he's a character, but now I like him. Like, after this, it humanized him. I'm like, I'm on board with Kid. I hope he succeeds in this arc, and I hope he's one of the final players in Raftel when that comes, but
I thought it was awesome. I mean, like, for me, what hit hard was the fact that we see Kid's reaction to Killer's state, and we obviously Killer's reaction to his own state, and probably the state of his captain, probably getting shot at. He definitely got shot at. As they, I don't think Kid went out to find Killer. I think what might have happened is, unless that was stated, but I thought he kind of just escaped, and on his escape he saw Kid without his mask, but he saw Killer without his mask, and he just went apeshit when he saw him being led towards the prison. But yeah, what hit me hard was the fact that Luffy had kind of, like, you can see in his face that kind of reaction of this is his first mate that just got absolutely demolished by it, and he's there thinking, it looks like to me anyway, if this had happened to Zoro, what he would have done, or the situation he would have been in. So that's what was like, it was double trouble for me, because you see Kid and then you see Luffy's reaction, and that was solid. And I thought it was a really, really good addition by Oda.
I think it's essential to start to get more development like this, because for a long time, more than like 4 to 5 years now, people throughout the community have had negative opinions about the other supernovas, including Kid and Law, because we just don't see them. Whether it's like power scaling with Luffy and Zoro being at the top of the scaling, which doesn't make that much sense, or like with just calling other people irrelevant because they're not in the story. Having this type of like information come out when they do come out, or when they do show up in the story, is super, super important, and I love that we're getting that at least. You know, we haven't seen Apu for a long time. We haven't heard about his backstory. We haven't seen him fight. So a character like that, I could understand why he would be irrelevant in the minds of the readers. But all these supernovas, in some capacity, are supposed to be relevant to the continuation of Luffy's path and his growth. After the Yonkos are aside and all the other pirates, is going to be the supernovas and the Marines. So I'm excited to see what other supernovas we do get more information for. I'm excited to see how much more development Kid and the main guys are going to get, because that's going to be what makes the future arcs. You know, we were all talking about that Throne Wars arc, Kid and Luffy being Yonkos once Big Mom and Kaido or somebody like that falls. This could be the makings of it right now.
That is my overall theory for what is going to happen in the final arc. When everyone is heading towards Raftel, I think at that point, the 4 Yonkos are going to be Luffy, Law, Kid, and Blackbeard. But that's a whole nother topic for another time. What were you going to say, Sundown?
Yeah, I wanted to make a point here about something Kid says. So he's there almost in tears, and he's pissed off at the state that Killer's in. But he asks Killer, who is his first mate, right? The equivalent of Zoro to Luffy. He asks him, where's everyone else? So is it almost safe to say that Kid's crew might have just been decimated?
Or what I thought is that they all became pleasures.
Ooh.
So now let's go into the last big moment of this chapter. Talking about Big Mom. She's here. She's hungry. What's gonna happen?
Bro, we're finally getting to the good stuff of Wano, bro. I've been telling people for a long time I don't give a fuck about what's going on in this arc. I don't care about the trials and tribulations of these people. I don't care if these people are stuck like that. It hurts. You feel a little bit. But I just want to see these samurai cut people down, and I want to see Zoro stop their ass. I want to see Luffy punching people, and the person who's gonna make it happen is here. At the beginning of the arc, we had high hopes for Kizaru to show between a Kaido and Big Mom clash. That doesn't seem like it's going to be flourishing anytime soon. To have Big Mom in this food craving state, coming up to Queen, when we just got this perilous circumstance for the 4 of these guys, where Killer and Kid are, to have them in that situation, and then to have Big Mom at the door, which was lined up for like, I guess 6 to 7 chapters from now. It's exciting. The build-up has been there. He did it correctly. I'm excited to see Big Mom come in here. Now, this is really, really early in the arc, and this is arguably the top 3, top 2 strongest people in the series. I'm not expecting anybody to have an outright fight. Maybe clashes, maybe encounters, and this is going to be our first confrontation of Queen as well. So I also didn't expect him to like get bodied like that. But this is kind of a forceful hand here. Nobody can really beat Big Mom as far as I know. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, what Grim said. I mean, One Piece shines at its best when it gets chaotic. So you've got a prison setting, you've got Luffy now, you've got Killer and Kid there, Hyogoro, Queen, and Big Mom's going to come and shake it all up. I hope this next chapter is just chaos, and some of the best moments of One Piece is just absolute chaos. I want it. Give me more, please. Just that.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm ready for this. I've never been a big fan of the whole Big Mom with amnesia trope. I'm not a big fan of the amnesia trope in general in anime and manga. But putting that aside, the fact that she's finally arrived at the prison, it's gonna be toasty. And yeah, so they're all there. Chopper, I'm not sure if there's gonna be some sort of like Chopper sees the state of Killer and then is told by Hyogoro about the smile fruit, and then he's able to maybe decide something which maybe could aid Kid's crew if they're still alive in returning to the way they used to be. So maybe this is like Chopper's time to shine in terms of reversing the effects of SAD. That would be cool. I'm not sure if people would like that.
Oh, I never thought about that. You know what? That's probably what's going to happen.
I'd like it, because Chopper hasn't really done a lot for a while, so if this is his thing now and he's the one who's trying to find a cure for the smiles, I'd be fine with that.
But I'm also super excited because Hyogoro's already set up the fact that there are other prisoners who used to be part of the Yakuza who are beneath him and who they might want to get out of prison. And seeing as Big Mom's just going to roll in, I have a feeling that, it's going to be another prison break kind of thing. But this time people are going to be pissed, and Hyogoro's going to be able to direct and steer their anger, so it's going to be awesome.
I think this is also the perfect chance for the Deathwing theory. Now, I gotta tell y'all boys, I don't know if y'all know about it, but there seems to be super correlation with Queen being an Okama, having her name be Queen, and the fact that we were told that Ivankov is the strongest of the Okamas and the king. Sanji is the concrete disciple of Ivankov, along with a bunch of other chefs who taught him different styles, different fighting techniques, and cooking techniques. I'm predicting that in this fight, in these next few 5 to 10 chapters, whether it's Sanji fighting or Queen fighting, we're gonna see that death move from Queen. As we already know, these guys are gonna fight the Straw Hats at the end of the day. I'm predicting a Sanji versus Queen fight, and there's gonna be Deathwings out there. So you heard it here first. Deathwings in the next 5 chapters.
Yeah, I hope so. But I also feel like after this whole commotion starts, which I don't think there's gonna be a finality to. I don't think Big Mom is gonna destroy Queen and then Queen's out for the arc or whatever. Luffy is going to get out of here. Kid, they're going to get out of here. But then I think after this sequence is over and everyone's back to their respective corners, I think we're going to be reaching the end of part 2 of this arc. And then part 3 is going to open up with, allegedly the the Marineford 2 that Oda has been talking about for a while now. And it makes sense because there is so much that is going to happen once the festival begins, or whatever they said when they're going to battle Kaido and everyone on that specific day. There are so many people in this arc right now, and just in Wano in general, for this to happen. And I know we've been talking about Kizaru too, but they haven't been focusing on him. They kind of just showed that Akainu was like, "Yo, Kizaru, maybe you should go to Wano." And then I think that's the last time we saw that. So it's possible Kizaru is going to show up too. And then where the hell are the other Big Mom pirates? They're still somewhere unless they're just dead. Unless King killed them and that's it. But so much to happen. So little time to talk about it. So that's pretty much it for the video, guys. If you like what you heard, check out the channel links in the description. Thanks again, guys, for coming in. If you liked the video, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, subscribe as well. Have a great day. See you in the next one.